Alright guys, just San here, back for another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at the STR Goku exchange into Gohan. Because of course, we did do a showcase on the transforming Cell previously. And the Cell was alright. I think my main issue with him was that it took him really long to get, to being good, right? Because obviously you have to be in his perfect form, and then he'll actually be pretty impressive. But for the Goku that exchanges into Gohan, even before you exchange, this guy can be pretty solid. Because he is stacking attack, so of course his damage can look pretty good. And then he does have some dodge chance as well. So if you're getting lucky with that, then defensively he's going to look really good, because obviously as long as you get lucky with dodging, you won't take any damage. So I feel like this guy probably aged just a bit better, and he is very beginner friendly, right? I mean, he's got some insane categories in his leader skill, and then he's on just a bunch of really top tier teams. So overall, still a very good unit. But I think because he has been out for a little over a year at this point, he's gonna, power creep, obviously, right? I mean, just it's been pretty prominent as of lately. So I think this guy is gonna be a little bit worse than compared to how he was on release, obviously, but he is still a very good unit nonetheless. But before we get into the video, if you find yourself enjoying it at any point, feel free to like and subscribe. Also, keep in mind there are timestamps in the video, so if you want to skip around to any part, then absolutely feel free to do that. And yeah, let's get right into it. So right here we have a very good rotation for him. We are gonna have 5 out of 7 links, and start of turn we are at 170k defense. Alright, so that's pretty bad start of turn, right? I mean, obviously that does kind of suck. But he does get a lot of defense on super. So more specifically, he gets 30% defense from his actual super attack effect, and then he gets 59% attack and defense when performing his super from his passive, and then he does still build up. So this guy gets 20% attack and defense with every attack evaded, up to 59%. So once you start dodging attacks, of course, his attack and defense will just gradually increase. But we also don't have All in the Family activated right here. So you are going to want to keep that in mind. That is a good amount of defense just from that link alone. So not the best rotation, but definitely still a good one. We got some support from the Carnival LR Goku. And we've got literally every link active except for All in the Family. So we're still looking good. It's just that one link is a bit of defense. And unfortunately, we are missing it. But alright, how much damage are we doing right here? 5.4, okay, that's really not that good, because he doesn't have any built-in additionals or crits, which is actually kind of bad for this guy, because he really needs additionals, but we'll talk about that in a second. So no crits or additionals right there, so just a 5.4 million attacks. That is a little bare bone, but nonetheless, he's stacking, so of course his damage will just look better and better throughout the fight. And then when you do exchange with him, of course all those stacks do carry over, so getting as many supers as possible is definitely very beneficial, which is why you probably should build this guy full additionals. And also, to exchange with him, you do need to do 3 supers, which is why I was saying if he had built-in additionals, then that would have benefited him a lot, because if you're getting the triple super turn 1, which if he had built-in additionals, then that would have been possible, because you get your 1 super, you get the built-in additional super, and then your hidden potential super, and then you could just get the exchange off on the very next turn, which would just be crazy. Because that's what my main issue with this guy is right now, is that you need to do 3 supers to exchange with him, and that can be kind of difficult, right? Especially because you have to have this guy in slot 2 or 3. You can't run him in slot 1. Before you exchange with him, there's absolutely no way you're going to be able to get away with running this guy in slot 1 if you have him in any remotely difficult event, right? So maybe the unit in slot 1 will kill the enemy, and then he won't be able to get a super, or just anything could happen, right? So it is a little wonky with his exchange condition, but I mean, if you're only running one of him on the team, you only have to worry about exchanging with one of them, so it's a little bit easier, right? But nonetheless, still a little wonky with that, right? So alright, right here we're at 200k start of turn defense, pretty solid, because we get the 30% on our super attack effect. So with that, that'll put us over 300k defense, and then we get the 59% from our passive, and then that would put us at almost 500k defense. So almost 500k defense with a 50% chance to dodge after he supers is definitely pretty solid, right? I mean, because obviously that's a 50% chance to take no damage whatsoever. So that is pretty good. However, a really big issue I have with this guy is that he only has the 50% chance to dodge after performing a super for 5 turns. I don't know why, but for some reason, after 5 turns, it drops to a 30% chance to dodge. I don't know why they did that. It kind of feels like they went out of their way to add that to his kit, because that, I don't know, that really just doesn't make sense, right? I feel like they should have just kept it at a 50%, because by the time those 5 turns are done with, you're most likely going to be approaching, you know, exchanging with him. So I don't know. It just doesn't really make sense why they drop it to 30%. But I guess it's not that big of a deal in the end, because I mean, if you're running this guy in Super Battle Road, you know, for those 5 turns, obviously you'll defeat the enemy within those 5 turns. So it doesn't really matter then. And then, like I said, if you have him in like a red zone stage, or you have him in any long event, then you'll most likely have exchange with him by those 5 turns. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter. But still, it's just really weird, right? It feels like they went out of their way to do that. But anyway, right here we have a lot of support between the Xeno Goku and the Carnival LR Goku. So a very good rotation. We're going to throw him in slot 1. And then hopefully we can get a dodge or 2 off if we don't kill. But we'll probably end up killing right here. Now, actually, yeah, he does have a really crazy link set. Like, now that I'm looking at it. I mean, he 6 out of 7 links with the Carnival LR Goku. So, I mean, that is a plus with this guy. He's got all in the family, which is good and bad, because a lot of like really top tier units don't necessarily have that link. I mean, there's a couple top tier units that have it, right? But I mean, you know, these like Super Saiyan Gokus and stuff like that don't necessarily have all in the family. So it's a little bad that he has that, but it's also good because it's like 20% defense. But then you want to make sure he's link level 10. So if you don't have him link leveled, you know, you want to make sure you do that, because I think at link level 1, all in the family is like, is it 10% defense? I don't know. I know it's significantly less than it is at link level 10. So you do want to make sure you have him link leveled as well. But anyway, start of turn, 281k. So we got a couple dodges off with this guy. And we do also have a lot of support. So that's why his defensive stat is a lot higher on this turn. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good, because then after we super, we're going to be approaching 600k defense, I think. So 600k defense with a 50% chance to dodge after he supers is solid. I mean, again, as long as you throw this guy in slot 2, or I guess slot 3, then, you know, he'll be fine. You know, you get the dodges off, and, you know, you don't take a lot of damage. But I don't know, if you get locked in slot 1, that could be a big issue with this guy. And a lot of events are doing that now, to where, you know, they're locking, and then they're even sealing, which could really hurt this guy. Because, as I said, you need to do the 3 supers to get his exchange off. And if you're getting sealed, it's just going to be even longer before you can actually get the exchange. But okay, we did get the double super right there. I don't really think it mattered. I think this was the last super he needed anyway, or the super before this was the last one. So, I mean, I don't think it mattered. But another super, so another attack stack. Definitely not complaining. So, pretty solid, pretty solid. When we got the additional, which I know I already said this, but I'll elaborate a little further. Yeah, you should definitely go full additionals with this guy, because not only does he get that defense for 1 turn, which obviously is very crucial. I mean, if a unit just gets defense on super, most of the time, like 9 times out of 10, I'm going full additionals with them. And this guy does get defense on super in his pre and post exchange state. So I think giving him additionals will benefit with that. Obviously, he needs to do the supers to exchange, so it'll just help if turn 1 you get the double super. You know, you get the 1 super off on the next turn, and then after that you can exchange with him. And then also he's stacking attack, right? So you're going to want to get as many supers in as possible before you exchange. So then when you exchange, you can just do as much damage as possible, right? So, alright, well, we should get the exchange off on this next turn, I think. If not this next turn, then obviously we'll exchange with this one on the turn after that. I know that for a fact, because he just got the double super, so we should definitely... Or wait, did we get the double super with this one, or was it the turn after? Or the turn before? I don't know. I'm too busy yapping away. I'm not even paying attention. Okay, can we get the exchange? Yeah, we can. Okay, cool. So we do have a very good turn. He is basically fully built up, or he's like really close to being fully built up. But yeah, anyway, got a good turn for him. So let me make sure I have the skip off, which I do, and then we'll go ahead and play this.
やめとくわ。お前の出番だぞ、ご飯。来るな。わかりました。やってみます。
Alright, pretty clean animation. Definitely looks pretty solid. So, alright, now that we are exchanging to him, I'm pretty sure he keeps the exact same link set. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. So we are going to have to throw him in slot 1, because a big thing with this guy is receiving attacks. Now, more specifically, I think you do have to receive 6 attacks in total to get all of his buffs. So I'll go over them. He does get a 58% defensive buff after you receive 2 attacks. He gets 58% attack and defense after he receives 4 attacks. And then he gets guaranteed guard for the rest of the fight after he receives 6 attacks. So, I mean, 6 attacks is a bit, right? I mean, it's going to take a minute to get that, or like 2 turns most likely. But the main thing is all those attacks, by the way, you have to receive the attacks while you have guard. And he does get guaranteed guard for the first 3 turns after you exchange. And then, as I said, he gets the guaranteed guard for just the whole fight after you receive the 6 attacks. So you're going to want to make sure you throw him in slot 1, receive those 6 attacks, and then, of course, just go from there. But, I mean, that's not really going to be that difficult because, as I said, he does obviously have that guaranteed guard for the first 3 turns after you exchange. So definitely that is really good. And then he does also have some extra attack buffs going on. He gets an additional 58% attack after you receive an attack. So that's just further incentivizing you to throw him in slot 1. He gets some extra defense the more HP remaining. I guess that's good, right? I mean, majority of the fight, you're probably going to be at a higher level of HP. So, I mean, I guess that's good. And by the way, we're not going to exchange into this guy. I'm going to go ahead and just let him keep on stacking and see how good he can look in terms of his offense, right? Because, you know, if you just keep on doing supers, I'm expecting him to get to a pretty crazy attack stat, right? So, yeah, but with the exchange Gohan, I mean, you know, he could look really good after he supers as well if you have the guard, because he does get 50% attack and defense on super, which is really crazy, especially if you haven't built full additionals, which we already talked about. You probably should. Then, you know, you get the double super off. That's 2 50% attack and defense raises. And then defensively, he's just going to be looking crazy because then you got the guard. You know, if you're fully built up, your starter turn defensive stats going to be really good. And then you get the defense on super, and then it just becomes crazy, right? And then this guy also does have a great chance to evade enemies' Ki Blast super attack. So a great chance to evade it. That's very reliable, right? That's a 70% chance. And also now with the new update, you know, it doesn't matter if the enemy cancels dodge. If they have even just an evasion, they could still get that in the event. So for example, I think Red Zone Broly does a Ki Blast super. If you bring this guy in there, he will have that great chance to evade it. Which actually, we'll probably bring this guy versus Broly. So we'll probably see that later in the video. But okay, 538k defense. Yeah, definitely really good. So we are fully built up with him in terms of all the attack and defense buffs. So that's why his defensive stat is so high. So yeah, we'll throw him in slot 1. Okay, so our defense drops just a little because we have to throw him in slot 1. But not the biggest deal, right? So we are going to get the extra 58% attack because we are receiving an attack. And then we'll see how good he's looking. We might die here if the STR Ultimate Gohan gets supered. Which okay, if he didn't, but we got the counter in the video. That's good. Typically with counters, I'm not the luckiest. 2.3. Damn, that is pretty crazy. 2.3 million damage, and that was before we supered. Or before we got the 58% attack buff. So if we would have gotten the 58% attack buff and the 50% attack from our super, that would have been pushing like 4 million. And we got the addition. Dude, he's looking crazy on this turn right here. We're at what? Like, yeah, we're almost at 1 million defense with guard. And we had that 70% chance to evade Ki Blast supers. And we did 2 attack stats, each over 8 million. Yeah, pretty crazy rotation, especially because we don't have any offensive support. I'm pretty sure we just have defensive support from the Ultimate Gohan. So, very crazy. I mean, he's looking insane on this turn right here. Alright, so really quick, before we do the nuke test, I do want to showcase this rotation right here, because this is the Goku and Gohan that have obviously stacked up a lot throughout the fight. So, yeah, I mean, they're at a 9.16 million attack stat. Definitely pretty good. I mean, once you get a lot of supers off with them, of course, their damage will start to look good, right? But, I mean, nonetheless, still, it really, really gets crazy once you exchange with them. I think pre-exchange, they'll look good enough to survive in some of these events, right? Depending on where you have them. But once you exchange with them, they're just insane. So, okay, we'll put the Gohan in slot 1. I can't do a Ghost Usher. Okay, this might be a little tricky. So, I do want to have all the links active, though. So, I think I am going to throw the Gohan in slot 1. Hopefully, he has his guard. I don't know if he does, but if he doesn't, we might be in trouble. So, can we get lucky with our Ki Spheres? Okay, can we get some of the AGL ones? Perfect, the full field of STR Ki Spheres. Alright, that works out just perfectly. And we're getting a Dokkan mode, okay. So, I mean, the Dokkan mode is not the best, but it's still alright. So, yeah, 600k defense. We've got a little bit more support. So, of course, you know, our defense would just naturally look higher. Now, as long as we don't get supered, we should be fine. Right? Because he does have the guard, too. Okay, so actually, if he gets supered, he might be alright. Okay, well, regardless, anyway. Okay, what is our attack stat at? 18 million. So that's 18 million without the extra 58% attack buff. So that's pretty crazy. We did get the Dokkan mode as well. So this is gonna just okay. Just let's look at the damage right here. Right, it's definitely gonna one shot him. I think Vegeta only has like 3 HP bars, so this is definitely gonna kill. But with the Dokkan mode, with a lot of support and 7 out of 7 links, yeah, 21 million damage. Keep in mind, we're missing 58% attack right there. So that could have probably been over 30 million damage. Yeah, very good. I mean, of course, it was a nuke test, so it was bound to be good. But regardless, he's looking very impressive once you exchange with him. So, I mean, we already got the counter in the video. So we could, instead of bringing him versus Broly, we could probably just bring him versus Metal Cooler Core, because he has type advantage. So, yeah, let's go ahead and cut to that. Alright, so we're here fighting Metal Cooler Core. And we do have an interesting rotation right here, because we did actually get sealed, as you can see on the character icon. So, we're not going to be able to super. And of course, we're not exchanged. So defensively, I don't know, man. We could get destroyed. We're at 235k defense start of turn. Definitely pretty bad. So we are missing the 30% defense from our super attack effect. We're missing the 59% defense from performing a super from our passive. And because we obviously can't perform a super attack, I don't think we get the 50% chance to dodge either. So this is a pretty bad rotation, but I do want to showcase this. I mean, I already talked about this in the video. That is going to be an issue if you're getting sealed, because a lot of this guy's defense and just utility overall comes from being, or just comes from getting a super off, right? So if you're being sealed, obviously that's going to make it to where, you know, a lot of his just capabilities are kind of limited. But, all right, we survived, right? We took like 20k per normal, but still, we survived. And then right here, I think we got the double super. So, okay, we need to do one more super with this guy, and then I think we can exchange. So you know what? I mean, we already showcased how well he was tanking before he exchanges. I mean, if he got the super off, he would take double digits. So let's just go ahead and cut to when we can exchange and see how good the Gohan is tanking in here. All right, so we're exchanging to Gohan, and we have a pretty good setup. We are going to receive 4 attacks just in slot 1. So we're going to be able to be mostly built up. We won't have the guaranteed guard, but we already have the guaranteed guard for these first 3 turns anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Now, okay, that was a bit of damage, right? That definitely was a bit of damage. But now we get the 50% defense on super. This second attack is going to give us an additional 58% defense buff. And then this last attack will give us another 58%, you know, defense buff. And then we also get some attack. So, I mean, that was pretty good. We're still taking double digits, right, after we get the super off. But definitely that first attack, it did do a bit of damage. Now, okay, if Gohan gets supered in slot 3, this could be trouble. I think he's fine, because this is after he supers, so he gets some defense on his super attack effect. And he does have the guard. 40k. Okay, never mind. I think we would probably die from his super. Okay, so I don't want to kill, but I think we're going to kill anyway, so I might as well just exchange with him. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Might as well just get as much damage in as possible. So we'll throw him in slot 1, see if he can kill just with, obviously, his 1 super. If not, then the Carnival LR Goku should be able to sweep up. Well, both of them, actually. I mean, 2 Carnival LR Gokus. So 7.6, that's pretty solid. I mean, just his damage alone definitely is pretty good. Once you start getting the additionals and crits, it starts to get really crazy, which we got a crit right there. So yeah, I mean, that's another reason you probably should just go full additionals, is because, I mean, what are you going to do? Give him crits? Or he's STR, right? So he already has a base 5 crit. So I don't really think you need to go really that deep with crits. And then for giving him full dodge, he already has dodge built in. So with that too, I don't know if that would be insanely beneficial. So that's why I think additionals is probably just the way to go. But all right, we did kill. So with all that shown, let's go ahead and cut to the unit breakdown now. All right, so here we have Warriors entrusted with Earth's Fate, Super Saiyan Goku / Super Saiyan Gohan Youth. So starting off with our leader skill, it is Super Saiyans or Goku family, category Ki +3, HP attack and defense plus 170%, and then the extra 30% goes to Android / Cell Saga category. So pretty solid leader skill. These 2 categories are really crazy, so that definitely is really good. And then his super attack effect is that he raises attack infinitely, he gets 30% defense for 1 turn, does immense damage, and then has a high chance to stun. So that is definitely really good for Super Battle Road. And then, of course, the stacking of attack, really useful as well. So overall, very good super attack effect. And then his passive is that he gets attack and defense plus 180%. He gets an additional attack and defense plus 59% when performing a super. He gets a high chance to dodge after he performs a super for 5 turns from start of turn. And then after the 6th turn, that drops to a medium chance. And then he gets an additional 20% attack and defense with each attack evaded up to 59%. And then that's the passive. So definitely really good. You know, a lot of dodge going on and a lot of attack and defense as well. So overall, pretty good in his pre-exchange state. And then to get the exchange, you do have to perform 3 supers, and then that's it. So not the worst condition, but definitely could be just a little bit better. And then his links are Golden Warrior, Sand Warrior Race, All in the Family, Super Saiyan, Kamehameha, Prepared for Battle, and then Fierce Battle. And then his categories are Super Saiyans, Goku Family, Pure Saiyans, Android/Cell Saga, Kamehameha, Bond of Master and Disciple, Turtle School, Heavenly Events, Bond of Friendship, Accelerated Battle, Entrusted Will, Full Power, Bond of Parent and Child, and then Warriors Raised on Earth. So a lot of really top tier categories. I mean, it's a Goku from the Cell Saga, so of course you'd have a lot of really good categories. And then when you do exchange into them, their super attack effect does change. So now they get 50% attack and defense for 1 turn and then do immense damage. And then the Gohan does get attack and defense plus 180%. He gets an additional 58% attack after you receive an attack. He gets an additional defense boost up to 100% and the more HP remaining. He guards all attacks for 3 turns from start of turn. He gets an additional 58% defense after you receive 2 attacks with the guard. He gets 58% attack and defense after you receive 4 attacks with the guard. And then he gets guaranteed guard for the rest of the fight after you receive 6 attacks with the guard. And then he does also have the great chance to evade enemies' Ki Blast Super and then counter with Ferocious Power. So a really good unit overall. Once you exchange, they're insanely top tier. But I think their main weakness is just pre-exchange. They could be a little bit weaker. I mean, it is kind of the same case as the Cell. But, I mean, if you're directly comparing them, then the pre-exchange version of the Goku is definitely a lot better than, like, the first and second transformation of Cell. So, alright, that has been the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys are thinking of this guy down in the comments. And, yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next one.